Hi guys, I hope my voice is clear and everyone can hear me. So before we go to the technical discussion, let me introduce myself. My name is 𝐓𝐢me. I'm the founder of Learnomate Technologies. I do have experience, 10 plus of years of experience with the IT industry. I got an opportunity to work with the companies like Cognizant, Infosys, LTI, Wipro, and some of the small based companies. So my role over there as a data engineer, I work as a data engineer. So I do have expertise with the technologies like Oracle. Then in the data engineer, I got the opportunity to work with the Python and Spark is there, and there are some of the cloud-based technologies. So today we got connected to understand about what is the role of data engineer, how you can start your career as a data engineer, and we'll try to understand some of the technical importance of data engineer. So that is the today's agenda. So to make you comfortable, let me share my screen. Okay, so I hope so most of the people are already aware about the data engineer field. So I'll just try to introduce that. Data engineer. Okay, now what is this terminology? So before that, we need to understand that from where this terminology has been introduced. This terminology has been introduced from the system. We called it as a big data. And data, you know, everyone, right? A data is something which is very important nowadays. A data which is very important nowadays. So let's assume that I have a huge amount of data with me. I'll tell you the example in terms of our training itself. Let's say I have a data of 10,000 people. Okay, so when I have a 10,000 people data which is with me, can I do one thing? I can directly send an email message to these people saying that, are you people interested to join our training under the Learnomate technologies? We can drop a WhatsApp message to them because we have their mobile number also. We can directly call them, and I'm assuming that out of 10,000, if 1,000 people also get converted, then our business will keep on increasing, right? And how can I get this 1,000 leads, a convertible leads? Because I have a data of 10,000 people. And everyone, all the big companies, they have understood that how this data we can use to increase our business. If you ask me, all the big companies like Google, Amazon, then we have a Flipkart, Snapdeal, Netflix, Amazon Prime, right? All these companies are using a big data system, and that is the reason they have the best result in the market. You take an example of YouTube only, right? Let's say you are going to the Amazon. Let's say you are going to the Amazon, and on Amazon, if you are searching for shoes, you might be noticed that whenever you are going to any other website, let's say you are searching for YouTube, let's say you are going to the google.com, let's say you are searching to the Learnomate technologies, everywhere on the right hand side you can see the advertisement of your shoes only, and there is a chances that you may click on that advertise, and finally you will purchase that shoes. And that's the reason, they are able to create the business. And how they come to know that okay, you are looking for shoes? Because your data is with them. Your data is with them. Whatever we are talking in our home also, that has been recorded somewhere. Do you know that things? Now in your home, maybe you are having Google Home, right? Google Home, which is pretty much everyone know. Maybe you are using the Alexa. Maybe you have a Google. Sorry, in the I don't know that. You can hear the voice is coming from here, right? So whatever you are talking, everything is getting recorded, and that will be stored as a part of data. And by looking to that information only. Let's say I'm talking about Amazon only, or shoes only, or cameras only. Let's say I'm looking for to purchase a new camera, and I just discussed with my friend who is sitting with me. That will be converted as a meaningful information about my personal life, and then everywhere you can see that I will get the advertisement of the cameras only. So this data is very important that we understood. This data, nowadays all the businesses are working over the data only. You are getting a credit card call because your data is with the bank, right? And bank is sharing their details. Everyone knows that. When I was not working anywhere, when I was not the part of any company, when the salary was not credited to my account, that time no one was calling me. But now, since they know that the salary is credited to my account, all the credit card people are started calling me saying that, hi sir, would you like to have this SBI card, ICCI card, credit card, HDFC credit card? And they will start calling us because our data is getting shared in between others. And that is the reason they have come up with that field. We called it as a data engineer. Data engineer. What this field is saying, what this technology is saying, that when I have a huge amount of data is there, let's say this is my data, you do something by using this data engineer process. You need to process by using data engineer technology. You need to process this huge amount of data, convert that data into the small data only, because all the data is not important for me. There is a chances that I have some junk data in that. I don't want all this big data, right? But if they have junk data, what I will do, I will just use the data which is required for my business. So I'm going to process that, and then I'll get some result saying that, okay, this is my important data, and by looking to this data only, I can see how can I increase my business. So earlier people were not aware about the data and all, but the systems like Google and all, they already started realizing that how important data is. You take the example of Google only, they know everything about you. Whatever you are searching, whatever you are watching, whatever you are talking, what time you are sleeping, everything they know, right? Because whenever you have a smartphone with you, they are tracking everything. Right? And based on your behavior only, they are suggesting a product to you. Based on your behavior only, they are suggesting a product to you. So we got to know that how importance of your data now. Now the question is like, what is big data? Okay, what is big data? Actually, this data is coming from a different type of data. Like, you will find a data which is coming in the form of structural data. You'll find a data which is coming in the form of semi-structural data. You'll find a data which is non-structural or completely non-structural data. So you have a data which is of different type. Now what is meant by structural data? You take an example of, everyone know about the database, right? We store our data in the database. Now this database can be of any company, like it can be your Oracle, it can be your MySQL, it can be your PostgreSQL, it can be your SQL Server, any database. What the database is storing? Database is also storing a data in the form of tables, right? So let's say this is my table 1, table 2 and table 3. So I have my data which is available in the form of database. Means I have a data which is a structural data. Why it is a structural data? Structural data means which can be stored in the form of rows and column. Which is a table. At the end it is a table. So when you have a data which is available in the form of rows and column, you can take that data as an input, process it, and finally get the meaningful data. Finally you are getting the meaningful data because you have a huge amount of data, right? Let's say you have a huge amount of data which is available in the form of RDBMS database. So I need to process that data. Now you are going to process that data by using a technology, a big data system. Like there are some of the tools are available, like you can use Spark, you can use a Hadoop component like Scoop and all, you can use that, and finally you are getting a data, finally you are getting a output. So whenever you want to, whenever whenever I want to process huge amount of data, whenever I want to process huge amount of data, and if that data is a coming from database, like which is available in the form of tables, we called it as a structural data. What is meant by semi-structural data? You may have heard about the XML file, JSON file. Now sometimes you may get a data in the form of XML and JSON also. If you want to know what is meant by XML and JSON, you can see here, just go to the Google and search here like XML sample file. Okay, XML sample file. If you go here, there are multiple websites out there which will show you how XML file looks. So if you go here, let me check any other website. If I go here, this is XML file. So this data is not completely your structural data. This data is not your completely a structural data. We call this data, we called it as a semi-structural data. We call this data as a semi-structural data. If you see here, this is my XML file. You have name is there, from is there, heading is there, body is there. This is called XML data. Same way, if you want to know what is meant by JSON data, JSON sample data also I am able to show you. If you go here, you can see this is a JSON data, right? So you have color value. This is third row, fourth row, fifth row. So whenever you have a data which is a semi-structural data, whenever you have a data, semi-structural data that can be processed by using a big data system, it is possible. When you have a data which is available in the form of tables, database, you can process this data by using big data system. When you have a data which is available in the form of XML, JSON, we called it as a semi-structural data, can be processed by using your big data system. When you have a data which is not structural also, semi-structural also, like non-structural data, and the examples are video, image, right? Log files, these are all your non-structural data are there. These are all non-structural data are there. So what I mean to say, when you have a structural data as input, when you have a non-structural data, when you have a semi-structural data, any data can be processed by using data can be processed by using a big data system. Any data can be processed by using a big data system, and finally you can get output. Finally you are getting a meaningful data. So why we are using a big data system? The first reason is it can process any type of data, whether you have a data which is coming in the form of structural, whether you have data which is coming in the form of non-structural, whether you have data which is coming in the form of semi-structural. Any type of data can be processed by using a big data system. There will be a question in your mind that why are we not using the RDBMS database, right? See, RDBMS database can store a data in the form of tables only. Like let's say I have one text file is there or log file is there. Any dummy log file, if I just open any dummy log file, and if I'm asking you, can you please store this data? This is my log file. If I'm asking you, can you please store this data in the Oracle table? It's not possible. I cannot store this data into the Oracle database. We need some system which can process structural, semi-structural and non-structural data also. We called it as a big data system. What we call it as a big data system. So we got to know about that. Okay, big data system is the one which can process your all the type of data. Another importance is, like if you take the example of let's say you are talking about the single server. What is server? This is my server. Server means you consider that a computer only. You take an example. If I want to tell you in very simple example, you consider that a computer, and on this computer you are going to install some operating system, right? It can be your Linux operating system, it can be your Windows operating system, and every server will have some amount of memory maybe you have allocate, the CPU you may have allocate, and storage you have allocate. So when you have a server, this server can hold maybe 100 GB of data, maybe 200 GB of data, maybe 2 terabyte of data. But more than this, if I want to process huge amount of data, that cannot be processed by using this single server. You take an example of your laptop only. There is a chances that your laptop can process 1 terabyte of data or 2 terabyte of data, even though if it is a i5 processor. But when you are running multiple machines, let's say you are using multiple VMware machine, if you see my laptop, you can see on my left hand side multiple machines are there. This is one of the machines which is running right now. If I try to run one machine, my laptop will run very smoothly. If I try to run 2-3 machines, these are called VMware machines, virtualization machines are there. I'm trying to run multiple machines. Let's say I'm trying to run 3-4 machines. So what will happen? My system will not respond. My laptop will not respond me. So this is called a big data problem. What we are calling it as a big data problem. Any data or any data which cannot be processed by your system is a big data problem. What is big data? Let's say my laptop is not able to handle this amount of data, certain amount of data. If my laptop is not able to handle, then it is a big data. So big data is basically a problem. Big data is basically a problem. And then what is the solution? To solve this big data problem, there is a solution. We called it as a Hadoop. So Hadoop is a solution to fix your big data problem. Hadoop is a framework created to solve your big data problem. Now, how this Hadoop system work? In Hadoop, what they have done, earlier time you were using a single server only, right? And on this single server only, you were storing your data and you were processing your data. Then they thought like, okay, let's create a multiple Hadoop server, like this. Let's create a multiple servers. So you have a node 1 here, you have a node 2 here, you have a node 3 is there. Node, some people are calling it as a server 1, server 2, server 3. Even though these 3 machines are separately from each other, but we are going to connect this machine by using a network. So these 3 machines, even though physically they are separated from each other, but they are behaving like a single machine by using a software called Hadoop software. By using this software called Hadoop software, you are going to create a cluster. What we are going to create? We are going to create cluster. Now, what is mean by cluster? Cluster means when you have a multiple machines are there, when you have a node 1, node 2 and node 3. It can be more also. When you have a 3 different machines are there, even though you have a 3 different machines are there, physically these are the 3 different machine, but they are behaving like a single machine, and that we called it as a cluster. So cluster is a terminology which is very, very generic. You can create a Oracle cluster, you can create Hadoop cluster. Cluster means when you have a multiple machines are there. I have a node 1, node 2 and node 3. Even though I have a 3 machines are there, but they are working together and behaving like a single machine, we called it as a Hadoop cluster. What we called it as a Hadoop cluster, because I am going to install Hadoop on this machine, and this machine. I'm going to run Hadoop on these 3 machines. And now since these three machines are different machine, like every machine will be allocate some memory. Let's say this machine got allocated with 600 GB of RAM. Here it got 100 GB of RAM. Here it got 100 GB of RAM. Maybe CPUs, number of CPUs, and storage is different. Storage are different. Now these three machines are three different machines are there. But now since you have three machines, like let's say you want to store something, you're going to store something and you want to process 1 TB of data. This 1 TB of data will be processed by the Hadoop 1, Node 2, and Node 3. Not a single person. Now, when you are giving some task to one person, he will do it slowly, right? But I'm giving three person a same task. Obviously, their performance will be really good compared to the single person. Let's say earlier time I was giving a task to the single person, but now that task is done by the three person. So their performance is going to be increased. The work which was taking 10 hours earlier, the work which was taking 10 hours, now it is taking only 2 hours, because the number of people are working together, and that is called cluster, and that is called Hadoop cluster. And that is the reason when I'm saying on the top, big data is a problem and Hadoop is a solution, because Hadoop have the ability to create a cluster, to run multiple machines at a time, and we called it as a big data system. Till now, whatever we have discussed, are you able to understand? Can you please use the chat option and say yes or no? Can you please use chat options to say yes or no? Harshit is saying yes, Ajay is saying yes, Harshit is saying yes, Avinash is saying yes, Anirudh is saying yes, Charan is saying yes. All right, everyone is able to understand. Nice. So we got to know about this big data system. Okay, why we are learning this technology, right? Whenever you are learning any technology, first of all we need to understand that what is the reason like behind that, right? Why we are learning this technology. So we got to know that, okay, we have a machines are there, we can do the things. Okay, now there will be a question in your mind that, okay, how can I start my career as a data engineer, and what is this role about? See, this role is all about, some people are using a different terminologies. There are different terminologies the people are using about this work. Okay, there are multiple people are using the multiple terminologies, so I'll just discuss about that. So some people are calling it as a data engineer, some people are calling this as a data engineer, some people are calling it as a Spark developer, also Spark developer, some people are calling it as a big data engineer. There are multiple terminologies used by the multiple people. If you are using a cloud, you can also use the cloud system along with this, but again, don't worry about the things and all. We called it, let's say you are using AWS, let's say you are using a GCP, let's say you are using a Azure, any cloud. So people are calling it as a cloud data engineer also, irrespective of any cloud, whatever you want to use. So people are calling it as a Azure data engineer, GCP data engineer, AWS data engineer. So if you want to start your career as a data engineer or Spark developer, all are same only. Okay, don't be, no need to take any tension about that. So when you want to start your career, when you want to start your career as a data engineer, what are all things you should be aware about it? What are the prerequisites are there? So when you want to start your career as a data engineer, the prerequisite is you should have some knowledge about the SQL. The basic knowledge of SQL is important to start your career as a data engineer. If you want to know, you should know some of the basic Linux command also to start your career as a data engineer. Third thing is, if you are comfortable with the programming language like Python or Scala or maybe Java, then that will be really good, because you are going to start your career as a data engineer means you need to have some basic knowledge about the Python or Scala or Java. And the fourth is we got to know about the SQL, Linux, Python and Scala, and another important is any cloud. Any cloud means it can be your AWS, Azure, GCP. If you have some basic understanding about this technology, then these are the prerequisites are there to start your career as a data engineer. And what we are thinking that we are going to take all these things in our class. We are going to start with the we are going to take the Python, SQL, Linux and everything we are going to take from the scratch so that you will be able to understand. So these are the prerequisites are there to start your career as a data engineers. Okay, so we got to know about all these things. Okay, now let's take an example that okay, we got to know about the big data system, like okay, we are going to process your huge amount of data. Huge means really huge. You are not going to process a data which can be in GB like 100 GB or 200 GB. Your data will be coming from terabyte itself. And there are two type of processings are there. Now when you talk about processing, when I say a keyword called processing, what is meant by processing? There are two type of processings are there. We called it as a batch processing and another is streaming processing. There are two type of processings are there, batch processing and streaming processing. Now what is meant by batch? What is meant by batch? See, usually if you ask me the basic architecture of any Hadoop project, okay, the basic architecture is you will get an input, means you will get some raw data from your client. That raw data you need to process it. What you need to do, you need to process, means see, all the raw data is not important for you. You are going to do some filter, right? You are going to filter out the data, you are going to write down your business logics or their data, and finally you are going to get the output. Now when I say that I'm going to process this data, when you get a data, that data is coming with the help of batch processing or streaming processing. Now what is meant by batch? Let's take an example that daily I am getting one file as an input. Like I got the 10th of May, I got one file. 11th of May, I got another file. 12th of May, I got another file. So daily I am getting one file as the input, or maybe I am getting multiple file as the input, but I am getting daily. So that is called, if I get a file on 10th of May, maybe I will start processing it on 11th of May and then I will get the output. 11th of May, I will process it on 12th of May and I will get the output. So unless and until input is not coming, I'm not going to process it. I will wait for the input. So you will get the input on certain particular time. Maybe in the morning 10 o'clock, you are getting a file, you are going to process that and finally you get the output. This is called batch processing. Streaming processing means you are going to get a data continuously. Within second you are getting a data. Within seconds you are getting a data. You take an example of IPL only, right? IPL. Every after second you are getting a new data. The scores are continuously keep on increasing, correct? And you can see on the dashboard there, right? If you use the 𝐄𝐧𝐫𝐚e, right now we are using a 𝐄𝐧𝐫𝐚e app there, right? You can see the highlighter there. This is the highlighted time. So you cannot expect from the 𝐄𝐧𝐫𝐚e that boss, today I'm going to take, today the players will play the cricket and tomorrow I will see that bar chart and graph and everything. No, right? You can see that immediately. If the Surya Kumar is hitting sixes, you can see that bar chart is going live on the top. It is touching the high, right? So you can see that bar chart over there immediately, because that is called streaming processing. Streaming processing means continuously you are getting input. Every second you are getting input. You are going to process that. You are going to process that. And finally you can see that data over there in the form of that bar chart and all, right? That's the output you can see here. So there are certain situations where batch processing is fine. There are certain situations where real-time processing is also important. What type of processing is important? Real time processing. And why this big data is very famous nowadays in the market? Because it can process both type of data. If you get batch processing, if you get real time processing, all the type of data can be processed by using these technologies. And for that we have a different tools available, different technologies available. Using that you can process this huge amount of data. What we understood, that it is capable to, you know, process big amount of data. It can process structural, semi structural, any type of data, any type of data. Then we understood that it can process batch kind of data and real time kind of data also, batch and real time. And one more thing is that this big data system have the ability, this big data system have the ability, this big data system have the ability to process any type of data. Okay, so till now whatever we have discussed, okay, are we able to understand? Can you please use the chat option? Whatever we have discussed till now, are you able to understand? Can you please say yes or no, whatever it is? Okay, I see everyone is saying yes. Okay. Okay, so I can see everyone is saying yes. Thanks. All right. Now let's take a. So we'll talk about the characteristic of big data. We'll talk about characteristic of big data. Okay. When we can say that, okay, this is a big data. You know, what are the features provided by the big data system? There are 4 V's are there when we talk about the characters. 4 V's. V's means the terminologies which get started from the V. Like we have volume, then we have variety, then we have velocity, okay, and then we have a last one, variability also. So earlier 3 V's were supported, or we can call it as a characteristics of big data. Nowadays 4 people are saying volume. Now what is volume? Volume means any amount of data. Big data is not saying that, boss, I can only handle 100 GB of data, 200 GB of data, or 1 TB of data, or 2 TB of data. Not like that. You come up with any amount of data, we are capable to process any type of data. Only the thing is, you need to create this number of multiple nodes, that your system should be strong. You need to see, if you are thinking that I have my one system and it should be capable to do everything, then it is not going to work. You need to spend the money, right? The client needs to spend the money. So the technology have a power, but only the thing is that level of resources it is required. So any type of data, any volume of data, if it is coming, big data is ready to process that. When you talk about the variety, any type of data, variety means you have a structural data, semi-structural data, non-structural data, we are ready to process that. Your data is coming with any velocity, means the speed of your data, the way data on the speed it is coming, the input, batch processing, just now I discussed, or real time processing, everything will be processed by using your big data system. And variability of data, again it's the same thing, that any type of data which will be processed by your It can be consistent data, inconsistent data, log file data, any type of data. It will be processed by using this big data system. So we got to know the characteristic of big data system, and in this big data there are multiple tools are there which we need to understand one by one, and I'll discuss about the tools. If you see here, these are the Hadoop ecosystems are there, in which Hadoop ecosystem you can see multiple tools are there. So some of the important Hadoop ecosystem tools we are going to learn, like we have 𝐓𝐢me is there, which is widely used among the data engineer field. Then we have Yarn, which is a resource manager, HDFS, which is a kind of Linux operating system where you can store your data. And we are going to, all the parts is available on our website. So if you go to our website, this is the official website of learnomate.org. This is the official website of Learnomate Technologies. You can go here and you can see the data, you can see the syllabus. Or if you go here, so we have a Spark and Hadoop syllabus where we are going to cover each and everything regarding the data engineer. So you can see each and everything over here. So the most important topic that we need to understand, the technology, we called it as Apache Spark. It has a very huge demand in the market. Nowadays, most of the interviews, they are asking about the Apache Spark only. We are going to add the cloud also here, AWS cloud services, which are important for the data engineer. That also we are adding here. Then we have 𝐓𝐢me, Yarn, HDFS, installation part, and the most important interview questions and everything. So we do provide the training. We are starting this training from tomorrow. We have offline training as well as online training. Both the trainings are available. Offline is in Pune location. Online you can join from any location, not a problem. The training will be conducted from Monday to Thursday, and the timing will be 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. IST. The duration will be around 45 days to complete this training. Okay, so that's all about the training. If you have any questions regarding the training, you can ask me. I will just unmute everyone. So today we'll take the questions regarding the training only, and as soon as we go ahead, we'll take the technical questions also. Okay. Yes.
Hi Ankush.
Yes, please.
Good year. Actually, I'm working as an Oracle DBA for past 7 years, like Oracle and SQL Server. So is that possible for me to switch from current Oracle and SQL Server DBA to this Hadoop? Is that possible, or like how can I prepare and how to show my experience into this domain? Like, is that possible or
I have personally done
not?
that. I was working as a Oracle DBA only, and you might be knowing that we already have a batches of Oracle DBA also. But like there were certain reasons, and I started working from Oracle DBA to big data system. One of the reason is that due to the shifts, we work in the shifts in the Oracle DBA, but big data is all about the development job, where usually the people will work from Monday to Friday, and it will be like 12 to 9, or maybe 9 to 6 kind of job, Saturday Sunday off mostly. Okay, depending upon project to projects also. Okay, but since it is a development job, you might be busy in the morning time, but the life is fine. uh, Again, how to switch, why I feel like it is comfortable to come into the Hadoop, because SQL and Linux we are already comfortable since we are working with the Oracle and all, like SQL server also. The challenge what you might be facing is Spark, not Spark but Python. So if you think that you are comfortable with any programming, like how to write down a simple program, or you can easily understand the program, again, like here it's not a hard coded kind of things like a Java and all. Okay, so your understanding play an important role. Initially it will be challenges, but as soon as you start learning the technologies, it will be easy. So only one thing which is quite challenging for us is a Python. And if you know since I work with the initial days in the development area, I was very comfortable and I'm very good with the shell scripting also, so I easily done that. So that's the way you can also do. Any more question, guys?
Okay, Ankush.
Hi Ankush,
Yes.
Soumik here.
Yes, Swami.
So like you're speaking about programming. So is DSA also required in
Not
programming?
required.
Not required.
Hi Ankush.
Yes.
So if how do I practice those
All
big
the
data
setups will be
programs?
provided from our side only. Okay, we'll provide you the setups. Only the thing is you should have a laptop, and everything we will take care.
And the cloud platform?
Platform is,
Or
what is platform?
if I want to run something on cloud AWS actually, for that
No, cloud,
you need to purchase. Yeah.
no need to purchase anything. Okay, all the practice you can do it on your personal laptop only. If you want to run Spark or maybe Hadoop, you can run it like a virtual machine. This is the virtual machine I am going to provide you, and you can use that. Okay, I'll provide you the setup of Hadoop where a Spark is there, your Hive is there. Okay, and we will give you heads up about the cloud services like AWS related services. I'm going to give a heads up.
Okay.
MapReduce and all are very pretty old nowadays. People are not using. People have already started moving from MapReduce to Spark. So Spark is latest technology. For scheduling purpose, the people are using Airflow. So we are going to conduct Airflow also in our class, and I'll discuss about the cron tab also. Okay.
Tiger here.
Yes.
What kind of cloud services do we need to know?
Any cloud service you can take. We are going to take the AWS in this class.
I mean, actually, I wanted to know. I mean, do we need to familiar with Apache, AWS Kafka streaming platform, so along with the TC2? We have to cover plenty of platforms, right?
Any one cloud services which is fine to start with the data engineer. Okay, as soon as you go into the in details of data engineer, then you can learn multiple platforms. Any more question, guys? Okay, so we are going to start from tomorrow. Those people who are interested to join this data engineer training program, they can reach out to or WhatsApp us on this number. Okay, all right, thank you so much for joining. Let's connect tomorrow. Tomorrow we have okay, so the fees for this training is 20,000. Okay, or 20K I can mention in the Indian rupees. Those people who are joining or it is $300. Okay, this is the training fees for this training program of data engineer. Any questions before I leave? Let me know.
Yeah, is there any relevant experience that we need to show before starting a career in data engineering?
You can show your previous experience as a data engineer, because if you're showing it as a fresher, no one will take you.
Okay.
Okay then, yeah, thanks, bye bye.